Alright, friends and fellow gamers, this is the moment y'all been waiting for. I'm doing an Earth 2 update video because I've had about 20 people this week alone ask me for another Earth 2 video, and I like to try and make the people happy. First, let's cover some ground rules because every one of these videos I do about this money-making scheme are highly controversial. I get about 98 comments saying thank you for the fun content, and about 98 comments that are 6 paragraphs long on why I'm an idiot, and 5.5 of those paragraphs are being total nonsense, and you can tell they're all copy pasted, by the way, and not one of them actually watched the video. So yeah, being pre-typed, and the stupidity comes out, and it's okay. As for the old saying that says you can't cure stupid, that's pretty much how it goes. Anyways, so what I'm going to do today, instead of just making a fun video about how ridiculous it is to spend money on something this absurd, I'm going to try and lead the proverbial horse to water and see if it will drink. Along with that, I can promise you one thing: there will be no flying buggies in this video. Yes! Also, if you want some good laughs, I'll throw in some links to some of the other Earth 2 videos I've done at the end of this in a good old playlist form, or I'll put the link in the description for your viewing pleasures. Please don't forget to drop a like on this video, and remember to join me several times per week for more game related content. I'd like to give a shout out to everyone helping support and grow this channel, either by subscribing for free or on Patreon for just $1.50 per month. Thank you so much. So, in case some of you didn't already know, this Earth 2 is supposedly coming out in 3 phases. Those are hush-hush, by the way, the 3 phases. You don't want to talk about the 3 phases. The first rule about the phases is don't talk about the 3 phases. So, I'm assuming that some of you haven't already watched the 10,000 skeptic videos on Earth 2 that are already out there. So phase 1 is what we have today, which is a picture of Earth with a grid on it. Yes, but it's much more complex than most people realize. Phase 1 is a land tile buying and selling phase. It's basically a satellite picture of the Earth that they got through the help of mapbox.com. Put a link in the description. It is laid flat, and if you don't believe me, zoom all the way out in the Earth 2 platform, and you'll see that it's flat. Then they laid a grid over it, the top of the flattened Earth, and the grid is made up of several trillion squares. I don't know how many a trillion is, but it's a lot. The square on the grid are of equal sizes. So as a consumer, you can buy these squares with real money and claim your virtual real estate and put your favorite country's flag on your tiles. Ooh, exciting. So what I need every one of you to understand right now is that there is actually nothing in this virtual platform that makes anything worth even a single penny. Even though some people are making a lot of money selling these tiles, there's nothing actually worth anything. It's just people's speculation on what something is worth. So that being said, if you take away the photograph of the Earth that lays underneath the virtual grid, all it is a bunch of squares or lines that go back and forth on a big fat Earth that doesn't exist. It's literally like walking into a McDonald's and you're looking at the menu and you're going, oh God, I haven't eaten all day. Those hamburgers look so good. And you see the prices and you're like, I don't care how much it costs. You walk up to the counter, you say, I want a Big Mac with everything, and biggie size it. So you swipe your credit card, you get all excited because you're so hungry, and then the employee walks up to you and hands you a picture of a hamburger and your fries and a large Coke and says, thanks, have a nice day. Yep. I wish I could eat that hamburger, but you can't. Now what are you supposed to do with a picture of a hamburger? Likewise, how do you play a game with no character? How do you level up if there's no experience? How do you, in good conscience, sell people tens of thousands of dollars worth of virtual nothingness on good faith? That's right, I said virtual nothingness, because that's what it is. Okay, it's time for some good old-fashioned straight talk, folks. That's right, straight talk. Earth 2 is not a new concept, and I'll prove it. And actually, I have already kind of proved it by the few of the last videos I've made on Entropia Universe, a game that's been out over a decade. I'll put the links in the description. What we have here at Earth 2 is a group of individuals who are way smarter than you give them credit for. Being 100% transparent with you, I don't like these developers. I think they're excellent at stringing together a half-assed ATM machine. Before I prove that their concept isn't exactly a new concept, I want to talk to you why the platform is an excellent moneymaker for the developers. That's right. Imagine that. They made a game that's not a game to make money, and they're actually making money. Wow, that's a crazy concept. If Earth 2 continues for years to come, it could potentially make the developers millions of dollars. Woohoo! So that being said, I could talk for 6 hours about Earth 2 and everything I see going on, but we don't have 6 hours. We've got about 20-some minutes. I've been analyzing this from different angles for quite a few months now, but since we don't have 6 hours and we don't have quite a few months, or maybe we do, let's look at the 3 aspects that I think are really important to cover. Number 1 will be what they have accomplished so far and how close they have gotten into their so-called phase 2. The second thing we will discuss will be why they tease actual gaming content like that stupid flying buggy, but have not once, as far as I know, streamed some actual footage of their quote-unquote game actually being developed. I mean, imagine that! Number 3, why Earth 2 is 100% in the developers' hands of whether or not this platform is actually going to flourish or fail. Alright, so number 1, we have to cover what have they accomplished so far, how close have they gotten into this so-called phase 2. So we all know they have a flat earth covered by a grid. We all know you can buy virtual tiles for real life money and then turn around and try to sell those tiles to someone else on the Earth 2 platform. And now they have jewels that can boost the resources that don't actually exist in the game, and then they added Holobuildings. Just what we needed, Holobuildings, that as of right now serve no purpose, and instead of actually telling people exactly what the Holobuildings are actually for, they do what they do best at Earth 2 and be as vague as possible. They say players can visualize and deploy building layouts on their properties. They say they will serve as extra storage. Ooh. As they say, the Holobuildings may serve as an initiation point, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. And to me, the scariest part of the whole thing is that these buildings aren't even going in a video game, or even a gaming engine for that matter. As of right now, we have no idea what these Holobuildings are actually going to do. If you're buying anything on the Earth 2 platform, you're basically buying an IOU that can be torn up at any time because of the crazy terms of service that this so-called game actually has. And if you don't believe me, go to their website and read the terms of service. It's in plain English. Another thing that is so insane is how some of the Earth 2 ardent supporters are talking about how awesome this tool is. And by tool, I mean Holobuildings. Yeah, it's a tool. Is how the developers are letting creativity flourish at this early stage. Wow, guys. They gave you a Holobuilding and you think they're letting creativity flourish. It's almost absolute lunacy, but it makes a good talking point. What's creative about it, you ask? Question mark? The swiping of your credit card to buy tiles, or the swiping of your credit card to buy jewels that don't do anything, or the swiping of your credit card to buy a Holobuilding that you can store nothingness inside of because there's nothing to store in it. Come on now. I know there's a certain amount of faith that has to be involved when you're supporting a startup project, but this is getting a little bit beyond ridiculous, don't you think? Okay, we gotta move on to number 2, or this video is gonna be an hour long. Number 2 is basically, what kind of actual gameplay have they actually shown us? We have all seen the flying asset buggy. If I have to see that thing one more time, fly through the air and see those awesome tread plinths, I think I might lose my mind a little bit. Start tapping on the desk. Oh god, the flying buggy! Not again! If I see it one more time, I think I might throw up, honestly. So here's the thing. If you came up with a super smart way of getting people to give you millions of dollars like Earth2 has, and you're telling me people, you're trying to make the planet Earth 1-for-1 scale with Red Dead Redemption graphics, and that's a quote from the Earth2 developers, not for me, I'll tell you that much. If I was to make a grand claims like that, I sure as hell wouldn't start off Phase 2 by introducing Jewels, a pay-to-win mechanic, and a Holobuilding that doesn't do anything. I'd probably start off by apologizing and saying, you know what guys, we fucked up. We know he said 1-for-1 scale of the Earth, but we bit off more than we can chew. Instead, we're going to scale it down to about, 1/48 scale maybe, or even smaller. And, we're probably going to have instances for the entire world, 200 to 500 mile increments, so that your character can actually function in a game engine maybe. If they even plan on having characters, you see, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think the developers actually literally even have a clue how they're going to achieve what they say that they're trying to achieve. And for that reason, they keep just releasing pointless stuff that doesn't do anything. So let's move on to number 3. Why it's 100% the E2 developers' hands of if this platform is going to flourish or fail. That's right, guys. I think it's 100% in their hands. I mean, let's look at this for a minute. First, they were smart enough to get people to invest in a platform that passively makes them money, because every time someone buys tiles from anyone, Earth2 gets a cut. What I mean by that is every time someone buys an unclaimed tile, Earth2 gets paid. And every time someone buys tiles from someone else, Earth2 gets a percentage cut. So no matter what, if there's any kind of transaction, Earth2 wins. However, that being said, what are they doing to make it so that more and more people want to invest in their platform? Are they showing people next level gameplay? Or are they developing some kind of epic software that the world's never seen before? Nope. And probably not. Instead, they avoid answering any questions directly. They use the Discord server as their customer support bypass to make it ridiculously hard for anyone who has any problem with their platform to get a solid answer. And then the CEO of Earth2 finally makes a video on YouTube about anything. He chooses the topic of defending Tanner Razonkovic, someone his company hired and is known to have a shady past with the gaming community, and calls content creators terrible people for calling out this guy who was recorded lying about Shane Isaac shortly after he got hired or shortly before he got hired. It basically doesn't matter. He was lying, as was going to sue Shane was going to sue certain content creators and has millions of dollars that he's willing to spend to do so. Then the CEO, Shane Isaac, comes out and denies that he ever said that to Tanner, and the whole thing is in his 5-minute video. And to top it all off, months later, the guy, Tanner, gets on Big Fry TV's channel and apologizing, saying that he was wrong about how he did everything. And it's so confusing, guys, but it literally is like if you get a speeding ticket and you go to the court, you take the thing to court, you somehow win the case, and then you go back the next day and call the judge stupid for letting you go because you were wrong the whole time. And anyways, but I digress, like so many like to say. If you're actually serious about making an MMO VR multiverse, why aren't you doing that? And the one time you actually get on YouTube and release a statement as the CEO of a company, why don't you cover the fucking game? Why do you finally make a video and then come out defending someone that later on just admittedly releases a statement that he was wrong about the whole thing to begin with? It's mind-boggling. To me and many others, this feels like a start to a very bad mobile game where they are clearly pointed towards how they milk money out of the people. And somehow, some people are convincing others to buy into this madness. Now I know I'm going to get a ton of hate, 6 paragraphs, comments, copy pasted, and it's going to happen to me the day after I release this video. And literally, they don't even watch the whole video. They just copy paste their comment in and go about their day. But here's the thing. Earth2 supporters, some of them are great people. That's right. I said some of them are great people. What can I say? Since May 28th of 2021, I've had 4 different individuals talk with me via Discord about their feelings and why they have invested in Earth2. 3 of them were content creators who wanted to make a video with me, but when I explained to them the format and how I wanted to do it, I just wanted to have a nice, calm, enlightened conversation. Every one of them pulled out at the last minute. I guess logic and constructive views is too much for some people to handle. I don't know, guys. When you ask yourself why you're willing to back a project like Earth2, or even a Kickstarter MMO for that matter, what's the reason you're giving them your money? Is it a smart and savvy business decision? Or is it because you think you will enjoy the content? To me, Earth2 is a platform that has promises of being a VR multiverse game, but it isn't any of those things. To me, Earth2 lacks a soul. If it weren't for the believers of Earth2 hallucinating on their Jaja juice and using their imaginations on what it could be, who all have their own version of hearsay of what they think Earth2 is going to be or what's going to happen, this project would be very different. The fact is, there's been a game around very similar to what Earth2 is trying to make. It's called Entropia Universe. Entropia has everything Earth2 is promising to have and more, except it's an actual game that's been around for over a decade. I've made lots of videos on Entropia in the past, and I'll leave a link in the description to a few good ones for newer players, or if you just want to check it out and understand what Entropia Universe is. I am in no way telling you that Entropia Universe is an awesome game. It's definitely a very niche game in itself, but I think it's worth taking a look at just as a comparison, so to speak, to the Earth2 platform. Look guys, here's the bottom line in my opinion. The longer it takes Earth2 to come out with any kind of real gameplay, any kind of real development of some kind of a game that actually makes sense, the more and more people are going to turn away from this project. And when somebody else bigger comes out with a better version of Earth2, and they're probably already in development as we speak, that's where everybody's going to invest their money. They have a very short window, a very short timeline, a period of time in which they need to get as many people involved as possible and actually put something out that makes some fucking sense. Right now, this doesn't. Thanks for being here, everyone. Whether you're an Earth2 supporter or a skeptic like me, I hope you're having a fantastic week. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description to my Discord. Come join the Adventure with Roger community, hang out with some cool people, and talk about your favorite games. Check out my social media link on Twitter, and a link to my Patreon where you can support the channel for just over $1 per month. Thanks again. My name's Roger, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Take care of yourself, everybody.